Hi, and welcome back to this episode of Dirtbike Magazine's off-road video series. This week we're testing the 2020 KTM 500XCF-W. First of all, we're happy to have this bike back. Back in 2017, KTM redesigned its dual sport line and declared that they were so good the company didn't need to offer trail bikes anymore. A lot of people didn't really agree. Real off-road riders had to choose between a dual sport bike and a full race 450XCF, which is almost the same bike as the 450SXF motocross bike. They must have figured out that by 2020, the pent-up demand for a legitimate off-road bike would justify the cost of homologating another version of the 500. So, the XCF-W is back. As it turns out, the dual sport bike also was redesigned for 2020, getting the same frame, bodywork, and engine updates that the motocross bike got in 2019. That includes a stiffer chassis and a new head that's much more compact. You'll also notice that the last vestige of a Kickstarter is gone. Even though the Kickstarter lever itself disappeared long ago, there was still a provision for one, until now. The upside to that is that the bike's weight is only 235 pounds without fuel on our scale. That's lighter than most of the 450 motocross bikes on the market, and far lighter than the dedicated off-road bikes from Japan, namely the Honda CRF 450X and the Yamaha WR 450F. The KTM complies with EPA requirements for off-road bikes in both sound and emission. It has a closed-loop EFI system, and it's also eligible for a California green sticker. It comes stock with a radiator fan and a 6-speed gearbox. Because the off-road standards are still somewhat looser than those for the street, KTM was able to get a little more performance out of the XCF-W. It makes decent power, although it doesn't approach the output of a competition bike like the 450SXF. Peak power isn't really this bike's strongest asset. What's really stunning about the XCF-W is how flawlessly it runs down low. We expect any 500 4-stroke to be throbby and prone to flameouts, especially one this quiet and lean. The KTM runs perfectly smooth down low. We don't get it. Apparently EFI technology has come a long way. KTM claims that the reed valve between the filter and the throttle body is partly responsible. Maybe so. It has a smooth, controllable surge of torque down low and a smooth progression through the middle, but it doesn't rev especially high. The super quiet exhaust and the smooth, linear power delivery throws off your perception of speed. It might not be as fast as Jason Anderson's bike, but it's much more powerful than you think. It's the kind of power that makes for a good trail bike that you can ride all day. If you decide you want more power, be forewarned that it won't be easy to modify the XCF-W. The muffler, the airbox, and the EFI mapping are all tuned to work with one another. If you change any one of these things, they'll run worse. As far as gearing, it comes with a 1448, and in our speed runs, the numbers worked out to 52 miles an hour in third gear, 65 in fourth, 77 in fifth, and 90 miles an hour in sixth. The suspension on the XCF-W is very trail-oriented. It uses no-linkage PDS suspension in the rear and a WP XPLOR fork with coil springs up front. It's soft. That's a great thing for rocks and roots, anything in first and second gear. It's not so great for whoops or jumps. Once again, this is exactly what the bike is designed for. As for the price, it's $10,999. That's only $400 less than the dual sport version. Again, we're happy this bike is back, and we're absolutely delighted that it works better than we imagined. We didn't know you could have a bike that's this quiet without any real sacrifices. For more on the bike, check out the April 2020 print edition of Dirtbike Magazine. And check back at YouTube or dirtbikemagazine.com for more dual sport videos, as well as all the latest news and action in the dirt bike world.